Welcome to Fitness Soul Podcast. My name is Joanna Weintritt and I'm your host. And this is Power and Lipstick series where I invite inspiring women to share their story. In today's podcast, my guest is Katie Paterson. Katie is a marketing consultant, endurance nutter, and a Fitmama. I know Katie for over a year as she joined our Fitness Soul gang and Fitmamas classes after having a baby. In this podcast, Katie and I are going back in time a little bit and we are talking about Katie's life before the baby and her amazing journey. 4 years ago, Katie and now husband Euan embarked on an adventure to cycle around the world. 22,000 kilometers, 31 countries, 4 continents, and 11 months later, they arrived back in the UK, having powered themselves around the globe with their own 2 legs. We also talk about endurance racing, pushing the limits, about consistency, mindset, being kind for ourselves, and about getting stronger. We finish off talking about how things changed for her when she became a mom. I hope you enjoy this podcast and it will make you realize that you can achieve and experience things you always dreamed about. So what cookies? You said did you?
The bad for you cookies. Yeah.
The one you mentioned before.
Yeah, they are so good. I found this amazing website called Loving It Vegan, and it's just really bad for you vegan baking. But they're delicious. So I never really felt like the vegan baking has been up to has been as delicious as non-vegan baking. But I found this website and every time it is absolutely amazing. The results are awesome. So I've gotten really into baking these chocolate cookies that we have every week. Kind of keeps us going, to be honest. It's like our weekly fix.
so you did tell me that before, but again, what's in them? What did you...
Okay, so it's cocoa powder, sugar, golden caster sugar, it is like margarine or like olive spread, vanilla essence, all the good stuff.
Okay. So essentially you could swap probably the sugar with something like honey or agave syrup maybe?
Yeah, maple syrup, something like that.
And then the spread olive, so just olive oil or coconut oil maybe?
Coconut oil. Yeah, coconut oil you definitely could. Yeah. There's ways you could make it healthy.
Yeah, and I think that would be still good.
I'm not sure maybe quite as good. You could try a different flour. You could try.
Oh, so there's a flour as well.
Yeah, sorry, there is flour. Yeah, that's a key ingredient. Yeah. Yeah, and the most hard to come by. I need to visit the Polish supermarket as well, actually, because you mentioned to me before that they might have some flour.
Yes.
Some red flour. Anyway, I need to get on that because struggling to find it anywhere.
Really? Oh, you know what? I promised. I was really bad. I promised to send you the name of it, and then also I felt like I will get you some. But then I felt like surely there is flour everywhere. This is what? No.
No. Well, I've actually got a dealer across town. So Euan's dad comes across every week to see Archie from a distance outside the gate, and he's actually coming later on this afternoon, and he brings with him, because there's a Whole Foods in Morningside, and they are getting, I think the issue with flour production or flour supply at the minute is that you can get it in huge bags of like 50 kilograms, but then they can't keep up with bagging it down into smaller bags and then selling it on. So that's the issue in the supply chain. So what they've done at Whole Foods is they've bought the 50 kilogram bags and then they're just bagging it up themselves with compostable bags and selling them off like a kilogram at a time to punters who just want flour. So that's how he's doing it. And then he's bringing some over to us each week. So I'm still going with my sourdough baking, which is good.
Good, but in Polish shops there is plenty. There is
really... See, I think we're missing a trick, aren't we? So I need to. There is one literally at the end of Balfour Street. I know, it's just right across from me. So I need to pop in there. But send me what it looks like.
I will. It's called żytnia, the rye flour.
Okay, you're gonna have to send me the spelling of that.
Yeah, it's like when you see it, you're just like, I have no idea how to read this one.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
But literally, I assume that you're fine because you can, like in Polish shops, there is plenty. It's like plenty. The shelves are full.
It's silly. The Tesco is mad. It's like there's some of the flowers and stuff aren't available now until like the 25th of May. And like,
oh wow. Okay. So I will send you the name so you can get it. But I'm not sure actually this shop, the one which is next to you, because we buy somewhere else stuff, but I assume it will be the same.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'll just go and have a look at some point.
Yeah. And I don't think there are queues anymore, to be honest.
No. Yeah.
I don't know, but I haven't. I actually, this is bad, but I was like, I haven't been queuing.
Yeah.
Yet. I was just like, I refuse to queue. So every time I go to the shop, maybe like middle of the day, and there is a queue, I'm just like, okay, fine.
Yeah. We went at 6:30 this morning to Tesco, no queue.
Yeah, exactly. So if you go really early or if you go very, very late, there's no queues.
Yeah.
It's just if you go during the day, for some reason, people supposed to be working, but they don't.
Yeah, procrastination.
Yeah. So so you've been telling me about your trips and your adventures, and we wanted to record this podcast for actually a really long time. I was telling you, we should do it. So I'm really happy that we finally made time and we're doing it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's great for me to reflect on it as well, actually, because it feels like such a long time ago. It feels like decades ago.
So when was that? So
we left in September 2016. So what's that? Nearly 4 years ago. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And we got back in September 2017.
September. So it was a full year.
It was about 11 months in the end. So we had a year in mind, and we sort of planned it working backwards from a year. At the very beginning, but actually my husband ended up getting a job. So we had to come back and kind of get back into the real world. I suppose that's what happens when you just pause the rest of life for a year. But so 11 months in total.
So obviously we're talking about how long and so on, but we didn't really say what you did. Yeah. So I think this is the most important. So what did you guys, what was this adventure of life? Maybe not of the life, maybe you'll have another one, but the latest.
I hope we'll have another one, but it's going to be quite hard to beat. So we were living in London, and basically both of us had wanted to travel a bit more, and we're both getting really into endurance sports. So we met a guy, a friend of a friend, who had cycled around the world, and one of our friends introduced us to him. We had a few beers, and one thing led to another, and the next morning we woke up and just decided that was it. In a year's time, we were going to just get on our bikes and cycle around the world. We thought, if he can do it, surely we can do it.
I've got goosebumps. It's amazing. So So you made the decision a year in advance.
Yeah, we did. We knew we wanted to do it, but we knew it was going to take a bit of money, first of all, because we weren't going to be earning for a year. We fortunately, we had no responsibilities, right? We had no children, we had no dependent relatives, we had no mortgage. We were just renting a room at that time. But we knew we were going to need some cash to actually take a year out and live on for a whole year. So we basically created kind of like a budget for what we thought we'd need. And that included like all of our kit and then flights and insurance and just living money to live day to day. And we worked out that roughly it was going to cost us about £12,000 to do that each. So it's a lot of money, right?
Oh.
So we'd been saving money like for years to buy a house and do all the adult things that you try to do at some point. We had to start again afterwards. But obviously we had a bit of a shortfall, so we knew we needed to work then for another year to save the rest of the money that we needed to make it happen. And to put ourselves in a position like career-wise or job-wise to take that break. So Euan works for a big drinks company, and they gave him a sabbatical. So they literally gave him a year off, unpaid, with the job at the end. So we had this kind of like fallback that at least when we got back, he had a stable job, and I'd actually gone from a full-time job working in marketing to going freelance because it enabled me to work more hours. I worked 7 days a week, like however many hours in a day, taking on as many contracts as I could just to make enough money to bank the money that we needed to take the trip. So it was a bit of a whirlwind, but we had this figure in our mind that it was going to cost us 12 grand each. I don't know why. It was exact. And I tell you what, we thought it was going to take us a year. It did take us 11 months, but we set ourselves our homecoming date a few months in advance, and we were about half an hour late of our homecoming date.
Wow.
And we overspent by 50 quid. What the hell?
Wow, that's amazing. Did you do a spreadsheet for your...
we did a spreadsheet. My husband loves spreadsheets.
Also,
I got more into them. But
I thought it's you who loves spreadsheets.
Oh, we both love spreadsheets. But he lives for spreadsheets. He is like a spreadsheet wizard. So, So we did. There was a lot of planning that went into it, and it was everything from like how much money it was going to cost, how much time it was going to take, what route we were going to take. So, like we did a lot of research into what way round the world to go. First of all, like that's the first big question: do you go east or do you go west or north or south? We decided to just head west, and mainly that was dictated by the weather. So we had to look at what time of year we were going to hit each continent, and therefore what was that going to allow us to do it? Were we going to have the right kit to be able to like handle the elements, the conditions? Was it going to be feasible to camp in those conditions? Like all sorts of stuff. And then getting the kit and learning about literally how to kind of live on the road and carry all your stuff and bike maintenance. Actually one of the biggest headaches was planning the visas and stuff like that, thinking about how you're actually going to get into all of these countries, currencies. But honestly, the spreadsheets,
lots of planning. Yeah, I kind of like I had few things in mind when I was like thinking about it and like what I would like to know.
Yeah,
the things you mentioned, I would be like, oh, I didn't even think about this.
So
one of the things I kind of, it went through my head. What gear do you need? What gear do you need for a trip like that?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, people approach it totally differently. Our approach was just keep it as simple as possible. Like take the minimum gear that you need, because the fact of the matter is, wherever there's people in the world, there's stuff. So you can always pick up spare bits, and bikes are like everywhere. So even if you're in the most deprived parts of the world, there's going to be bikes, right? In India, they ride bikes everywhere. Ours were obviously slightly higher tech, but not really. We went for the ones that have the kind of universal number of spokes and the most basic components. So if we needed to replace bits, we could wherever we were in the world. We just kept it as simple as we could with regards to kit. We rode touring bikes, basic steel frame touring bikes. There's a brand called Ridgeback. They cost us about, I don't know, £1,000 each, something like that. They were just really hard rowing and simple. We used panniers, so we just had back panniers over the back wheels. And then one small, so they're the kind of like waterproof bags that sit either side of your back wheel. And then we had one small bag each on the front of the bike, just between the handlebars for like all our essentials. And genuinely all we took was like clothes. So I literally had one sports bra, two pairs of shorts, two t-shirts, like a fleecy, a hoodie, we had full waterproofs, one pair of socks, and we just got used to like washing everything by hand each night. We took obviously like camping, really basic camping gear, and cooking stuff. I don't even think I had a hairbrush.
No.
Actually, this was quite cool. We even chopped the handle off the toothbrush, because all you need of your toothbrush, right, is the bit that you.
Oh wow!
And then like a tiny bit to hold on to. But if you imagine you've got a bike and then you've got everything that you're carrying, and we actually weighed my bike with all the stuff on it. It weighed 32 kilograms, so that's like over half my body weight. So you imagine you're carrying that up mountains. Like the highest we got to was 3,200 meters. So that was 70 kilometers of just riding uphill to get to that point. Like you don't want to be carrying any more than you have to. You're cursing everything that you have in your bags anyway. The only kind of luxury item that we had actually was the laptop that I'm talking to you through right now, which made it around the world 4 years ago and is still serving me really, really well. But we wrote a blog as we were going and took lots of photographs. And so that was our real kind of like, it was just our way to kind of just download everything that was happening in our weird lives and keep a track of it as well, because it's just such a great thing to be able to look back on now when we're we've started a family and our lives are like so different to how they used to be, but there's just something so liberating about having everything that you need to survive day to day on a bike and on you personally. It's just like you realize that you actually need so little to live so happily. Like we've never been so stress free, and it was just we were so content, and everything was like so in the moment, and like you just looking around and absorbing everything around you, and meeting new people, and every time you look up, everything's changed and it's something that you've never seen before. But having no stuff is just like such a liberating part of that experience. It was really nice.
So you said like you took literally just few items. Was it summer through all the countries?
Well, good question. So most of them. So shall I give you a quick like tour of where we went?
Sure. Yes. Let's start from London.
From London. Yes, we went through 31 countries and through four continents. So we started in London. We headed west. So we went through England, Wales, and then up the east coast of Ireland. Then we flew from Dublin to Orlando in Florida, and we cycled east to west across America through the southern states of America. Cool fact about that was we were cycling through Texas when Trump was elected. We were actually in El Paso on the border of Mexico the night that Trump was elected, and it was just like, it was such a wild place to be at that crazy moment in history. We then flew from America to Australia, and we cycled Auckland, top of the North Island, to Dunedin and the south of the South Island, which was absolutely mega. And then we flew from Dunedin to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. And we basically cycled back from Vietnam to the UK. So through Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, Bangladesh, India, Nepal. We did actually fly over we flew over Afghanistan and Pakistan, because we just thought it probably wasn't safe to cycle through those parts, to Kazakhstan, and we cycled through Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, oh my goodness, where after Georgia? Turkey, all along the north of Turkey, Greece, Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia Herzegovina, Croatia, Slovenia, Italy, France, and then back home. So I think I've managed that without missing any.
I went through the map, and I think this is, I mean, pretty much it sounds like what I've seen as well. Yeah. So from all those countries you mentioned, what was like one of the places that you're just like, wow, oh my God, I'm probably many, but just like if you have to choose one or two, saying like something that you didn't expect it and you were like so positively surprised.
Okay, so there's two that fit that criteria. So the first is Bangladesh, because it's like it's so poor. If you look on the government website, you wouldn't go there. It's like all these warnings and stuff, and it's incredibly densely populated. So the population, do you know, I can't remember the numbers. We've written an amazing blog about it actually, but it's so densely populated. It's about half the population of America or something like that, in the size of England and Wales. So it's like population density ridiculous. I think it's something like 1,200 people per square kilometre versus 260 people per square kilometre in the UK, and 7 people per square kilometre in Kazakhstan. So it's like crazy. Anyway, it was amazing. It was so hospitable. We were hosted every night by local people, just random people who, like, actually, a lot of them, the people that we met approached us speaking English, but most people didn't speak English. And it was amazing. And we joined, we had an amazing experience there. We joined a cycle group the first day we arrived in the capital city in Dhaka, through a friend of ours who had just put us in touch with them. We went out for a ride with 100 local Bangladeshi people and Bengali people. And then a TV crew turned up, and we like had no idea. Like we were just chatting away to him. We thought he might be like a social media guy or something for the cycle club. We ended up on their national news. There was like a 3-minute segment about us on their national news that night, which was just, we were like celebrities. Wow. Which was broadcast to 160 million people. It was just wild. And so we ended up being these kind of like weird celebrities in their country for a week, which was amazing. And just the people there were just wonderful. But horrendously dangerous for cycling, and I wouldn't recommend it. Just it was an amazing cultural experience. It was just, the roads were terrible. People don't cycle there. And
I can imagine the Bangladesh. I mean, I never been in Bangladesh, but India, you went through India as well. It's just like big respect.
Yeah, it was hard. We got up to 45 degrees, it said on Euan's Garmin one day. And it was literally like cycling into a fan oven, because and we had to drink constantly water that we were purifying. So we were using tablets that tasted like chlorine. And it was about as warm as bath water by the time you got to drinking it. So it was really hard. That was hardcore, actually. The saving grace with India really was the food, because it was absolutely amazing, and we're vegetarian, and so it was just awesome for us. But that was hardcore. We had 3 weeks of cycling in India, and I'll never forget it. And I talk about it probably more than most countries that we visited. But I'm not going to lie, I probably wouldn't cycle there again in a hurry. But in terms of beautiful cycling that was a surprise, Central Asia is like nowhere else in the world. It's so good. No one goes there. Like, so Central Asia is like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. I'd never heard of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and the terrain is like so it's so different, so vast. There's like alpine mountains. Kyrgyzstan is 75% mountains, so it's like these beautiful alpine mountains. Tajikistan are all these lakes, gorgeous lakes that if you saw them in Europe, they'd be filled with speedboats and stuff, but here there's no one there. You can just swim in them and camp by them, and it's just gorgeous. Kazakhstan was like the Kazakh steppe land is like so vast. Like, you'd see these signs where it would be like 242 kilometers to the next town, and you know, we wouldn't talk to another soul until we got 240 kilometers to the next town. It was just crazy.
So how many kilometers on average you did? Obviously, I suppose it depends from the terrain and so on, but like when you just...
Yeah, so we kept a spreadsheet, so we know that we did on average. We did on average 115 kilometers a day. So you know, it's not. I mean, it is big distances, but it's not massively. If you think that's kind of your full-time job for a year, but you are carrying a lot of kit, and like you say, the terrain is it really impacts kind of how far you can go. So like the longest we went in a day was about 220k.
Oh wow!
Whereas the shortest we went in the day was like 30k if it was really disastrous weather.
Did you cycle every day, or you did have? It was like shh.
No, we gave ourselves a bit of a break. We kind of designed breaks around places we wanted to stop for a while. So if there were like cities or places that we particularly wanted to just like spend a bit more time in, we could give ourselves like a bit of time off every so often. So we'd probably ride like 5 in every 7 days, something like that. So it was pretty much like a full-time job.
So 5 days in 5 days, yes? Did I catch it correctly? Yeah, 5 days, and then 2 days off? 2 days off.
It wasn't as strict as that. I mean, that's probably on average. Mm-hmm. But we would do stints where we just ride, so for example, sometimes between continents, we'd have to take a flight. So we'd have a kind of deadline of X date we needed to get to in order to then catch the flight.
Yeah.
So on occasions we actually flew back from Turkey to a friend's wedding, which was a bit rash in Scotland. So we had to race to Turkey. We'd had this hilarious situation where we'd been stuck in Kazakhstan waiting for a cargo ship that we had to take across the Caspian Sea, and there's no timetable for these cargo ships. They just come when the weather allows and they leave when they're full. So we were stuck in this town called Aktal, which is just the worst town ever. There's nothing going on
east of Turkey, kind of like east of the lake.
So you've got so the North Sea. To the west, to the east of the North Sea, you've got the Caspian Sea. So between Kazakhstan, and then on the other side, you've got Azerbaijan. And then further down, you've got Iran. So the Caspian Sea joins kind of very east of Europe.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, we needed to get across the Caspian Sea in order to get to Azerbaijan, Georgia, and then duck into Turkey. So we got stuck in Kazakhstan for 7 days waiting for this cargo ship, and then the cargo ship arrives. We get on the cargo ship, then the cargo ship gets stuck in the middle of the Caspian Sea in a storm. So it was just like this comedy of like, it was just ridiculous. It was such a crazy situation, and then we were put back 7 days. So we'd probably allowed ourselves like a wait of 3 or 4 days, but then we had something like 1,400 kilometers to cover in about 10 days. So then it was like, right, pressure on. We just had to ride like 150k a day for 10 days to get halfway across Turkey to fly home for our friend's wedding. And it coincided with Ramadan, which was very bizarre in Turkey, which is a majority Muslim country. So there's like no one around, and we're obviously like ravenous cyclists. So it's like really hard because you don't want to kind of, be kind of socially awkward or insensitive. So we were trying not to eat in public in the day, but we were cycling so much that we needed to kind of keep our energy up, and it was warm as well. And along the Black Sea coast of Turkey, my memories of Turkey were kind of like the southern part, the kind of coastal regions in the south, or the southwest. So where you might go on holiday, you probably wouldn't go on holiday to the North Sea coast of Turkey. So we didn't really know anything about it, and it was like a ghost town. But it actually did rain for quite a bit of that period, so that was really hard. But it was flat, so that was one saving grace. So we just got our heads down and cycled along there. But otherwise it averaged out at about 115k a day, something like that.
So coming back to the eating, because you did mention that you've been like eating. Obviously you need to eat, so when you exercise for 1 hour, you're supposed to eat, right? So I suppose you've been cycling for sometimes 10 hours or something during the day. What did you stop to eat, or you've been eating on the bike? What's your strategy?
So we would usually stop and have some lunch. It totally depended on where we were in the world, because food was easier and harder to come by in different parts. We'd always have food on us because you don't want to get caught out, and because we didn't know the places we were in, we didn't know how far it was going to be until the next shop. You know, we didn't know if they'd be open. We didn't know if... I also have a nut allergy, which to add that into the mix is like a bit confusing, particularly when in parts of the world where nuts are like
main thing. Asia, I suppose this is like
exactly. Thailand was interesting. India was interesting too for that. We keep stuff on us all the time, so we'd always have like fruit and bread, and that sort of bread you can get anywhere. And then we try and cook some food in the day, like pasta or rice or something like that, vegetables, whatever we could get hold of. Like just totally varied. Central Asia, though it was beautiful, the food was terrible. Like it's not somewhere you go for like good food. There's a lot of like horse meat and stodgy pasta, and like kind of lardy pastry and stuff. It's a very, very, it's quite a cold climate there. The winters are really harsh, and so the food is very much like just really calorie dense food, which is obviously good for cycling but not very delicious. So yeah, it depended. And then, you know, we get street food in Thailand and street food in India, which was just amazing. But generally we just have some kind of food on us just in case, and then we just eat whatever we could find. But wherever there's people, there's food, right? And there's water, so we were never that worried about it. Because you can always get by.
So you didn't plan like, okay, we're gonna take that, or you did bring some stuff from home, like bars, energy bars.
No energy bars, because we just couldn't carry the amount that we would need to like get us. You know, they probably last us about a week, and then we'd have to find alternative. We ate these like granola bars. America, it was really hard to get good, healthy, nutritious food in America, in the southern states, like to snack on as you go. So we had these like Nature Valley, I don't know if you had the Nature Valley granola bar things. And then by the time we got across America, we kind of delved into the nutritional information on the back and realized how much sugar we were consuming in a day, because they're actually, though we thought they were quite a healthy snack at the time, we since realized they probably weren't the best.
I suppose, you know, when you're doing so much exercise on a daily basis, it wouldn't be okay. But if you're doing so much exercise, you just burn it straight away. Your body, you know, you didn't have any fat on you. You know, probably like after a month of cycling, you probably, you know, you need to eat carbs and sugar to survive.
It's funny you say that, because our weight did fluctuate massively in the year. Like in India, we were both skin and bones, because all we were eating was like, you know, chickpeas, rice, you know, really good kind of nutritious stuff. But then in Central Asia, all we were eating was like bread and jam and biscuits and like just really kind of, it was weird. Even though we were cycling loads, I think your body just adjusts to it just becomes so much more efficient, so you don't need as many calories. Like it's weird. Like we were cycling like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and yet after a while our bodies kind of just started operating more efficiently, and so they didn't need as many calories. So by the time we got back to Europe, you know, we'd eat loads of yogurt and fruit, and we'd eat oats, and we'd eat, you know, like just good stuff, good energy, and that would be fine. But you could actually see quite a difference in.
Did you weigh it yourself? Do you know like how much
we did
during the trip?
Just at the end of each leg. Again, this is not me. This is my husband. He is obsessed. This is part of his job and the way his mind works. But he is obsessed with data. So we did weigh ourselves at the beginning and the end of each leg, just to see if it had changed out of interest. You know, neither of us are particularly weight conscious. We were just interested in our own physical state and capabilities. Do you know what I mean? I think, you know, anyone who's interested in this kind of thing will just have a curiosity about physical endeavor and like what their bodies can do if their bodies and minds, because it's totally mental as well, but like what they can do. So we were just really interested to see, you know, how our bodies would cope with it and how they would function and how they would change and all this kind of stuff. And I've never been the same since. Like the strength in my legs now is, I'm a different person compared to when we started, because I had one whole year of powering myself around the world. Like your muscle, like the amount of work and energy and movement you put through your body, you know, I think the makeup of my legs has completely changed. Obviously I have to work to maintain that, but my base level has changed.
It's quite high, I suppose. At the moment.
It is now, and it was relatively high before that, but in nowhere near as high. And my mentality's changed as well. I push myself harder now because I know I can. I think that's another thing. It kind of opens your mind to what you can actually do.
So going, you know, like you started obviously the trip without any cycling experience. You do have. So what kind of stuff you did before the journey around?
So I would say, like, we've both been a bit curious about like endurance stuff since our early 20s. So we're both 31 now. We were 27 when we set off. We had, since we were about 21, been into endurance stuff. So started out running marathon, like running 10Ks, 5Ks, got into marathon running kind of mid-20s. And then we both did an Ironman. Euan's actually done 2 Ironmans and I did one in 2015. So, but I'll be honest with you, I did it to finish it. I didn't do it because I'm any kind of like amazing athlete or cyclist. I did it because I was interested in whether I could do it, and I wanted a challenge. I was a bit bored with my work as well at that point, and I just was kind of like, I need something to focus towards. And also I'm an eternal optimist, so I'm kind of like, sure, I'll do that, and don't ever really think things through too much. I
did mine for this exactly the same reason. I was just curious if I can do it without any experience. I'm fitness instructor, but I haven't been training professionally or anything. I just enjoyed moving for my life. I never stopped. So do you have any background in sports or anything, or
not especially? Like I've always played a bit of sport, but at a very no high level, like just like college and university, but it's always been a part of my life. And like, I was a real tomboy as a kid, so I used to play football and basketball and rugby with the boys, and that was kind of just how I grew up. But I never played sport, especially competitively or at a really high level. It was just more of an interest thing. And then I think just as I got into my 20s, I started to realise that I was much more capable of stuff than I realised physically. And I was sort of a bit annoyed at myself that I didn't realise that younger.
Oh, but well, it's never too late, right?
It's never too late. And also, I just feel like I've still got so much further to progress. I think that's the other thing about it, is that as soon as you start opening your mind to this sort of stuff, you think the possibilities are literally endless. Like, you can just keep improving, even slightly. So when we got into our 20s and started getting into running, I went from running like a 4-hour, 45-minute marathon was my first one. The following year, I think, I ran a 3-hour, 38-minute marathon or something. I took like a whole hour off my marathon, which was mental. But all that was training a bit better and eating better, and also focusing on like strength and stuff as opposed to just running, which is what you guys are all about. And I couldn't agree more that, like, you know, functional strength and core strength is like the foundation of endurance. Like, I just think it's so important. And it's why we were able to do this trip without any injuries as well, because we kept good and strong. We would do like little core workouts in the morning.
Really? Did you? Oh my God, this is crazy.
We do like planks, push-ups, like just because otherwise we knew we'd break.
Wow, that's amazing. So you did it before every cycle, basically?
Yeah.
Nice.
Just like each day.
You're
bit of a top-up. But I don't know. I think we just learned more and more about it as the year have gone on. And Yeah. Yeah, but no, I'm like absolutely by no means am I like have anywhere near elite athlete capabilities or ambitions. All I wanted to do was just explore what we could do. I
Yeah,
think.
but coming back to the stuff you've been saying, like about the training, you know, before for your other races and marathon, it's so amazing to see when you train properly.
Yeah.
You actually can gain something that you know, it's not like if you just wing it with, you know, like, oh, I just gonna do it, you're not gonna improve. But you actually trust when you start trusting the process, and this is what's happening. And you know, it's not only one thing, as you mentioned, the strength training is very important as well. Then you see you getting stronger and you are injury free and you just basically getting better and better.
Yeah, and so much of this, you know, I come back to, I wish I'd realized this earlier, but like having that kind of, having the structure, like purposeful practice, right? It's all about like having an end goal, and that enables you to kind of prepare for that in a way that's just relevant, like that gets you there, and enables you to like just do it well and do it without injury. And I wish I'd realized a lot of this earlier than I did, but I definitely realized it through the process of marathon training, because I really struggled the first time, and then I focused the second time, and I focused more on strength. But we took all of that into the cycle, and you know, we weren't going. The purpose of the cycle was not to break any world records or break any land speed records or anything, because we were far from that. It was for an adventure. It was an experiment about our own physical and mental capabilities, and it was to experience places that we'd never been and see stuff that, you know, we can look back on and enjoy memories of for the rest of our lives. But equally, you know, our knowledge of our own bodies and how we've prepared successfully in the past enabled us to do it in a way that meant that we could enjoy it to a whole new level, because we were fit enough and capable enough to kind of to do it. I genuinely believe that anyone could get on their bike tomorrow and do a bicycle tour, like, you know, not necessarily cycle around the world, but you could go to the we actually, you couldn't because of lockdown, that's sorry, but you know, when it's all said and done, you could pack your bike up and you could go to the Outer Hebrides and you could do a glorious cycle there, and you could take it as slow or as fast as you want. And the thing about cycle touring is, to a certain extent, you can just train as you go. You don't need to have done an Ironman. You don't need to have done any cycle training at all, because you do progress as you go on. However, for the distances that we wanted to do and for the time scale that we had, we knew we needed a certain level of base fitness to do that. And we knew that we knew that having that base level of fitness would just enable us to enjoy it, and, you know,
and don't break down after.
That said, I was like so pissed off for about the first like month, to be honest, because Euan is like, he's very fit, and I was always like relatively fit, but I'd been working, like I said earlier, I've been working 7 days a week, about, you know, 15 hours a day, just to try and make enough money to go. I'd done the Ironman the summer before. Honestly, though, I had done so little training in the build up to the actually leaving, because I didn't have time. And so we got on our bikes, and the way to Wales was an absolute slog. And then fortunately we had America, which was like totally flat across the southern states. But I was like furious at you and every day for like the first month, because I was like, you don't understand, this is so hard for me.
Yeah, but you know what, saying that, we are like, as women, we are different, we are both different way, we have smaller hearts, and our physiology is just basically not the same. So and if you are both fit, like you and Euan, it's obviously, I mean, it's maybe you cannot compare this way, but if you are both doing things and you are both fit, you will be a little bit, it will be harder work for you.
Well, I mean, I guess the thing is, over time, it evened out. And I had a word with myself, and we had a word together, and realized that, it's not a competition, it's not a race. We're a team. We were a team for the whole year. We had to be a team. So, we just needed to go at the pace of the slowest, and that was fine. My fitness got better anyway, because it progresses, and you just become more capable. After America, we went to New Zealand, and it was incredibly hilly in the North Island, and it was just the best training ever, because we were just climbing like thousands of meters a day, like it was just so ridiculous. And it was just so hardcore. And it also rained for like 15 days straight. New Zealand was pretty brutal. I'd never been before. And I feel like I need to go back to kind of right some wrongs there, because it just rained a lot. But yeah, we got fitter. And actually, do you know what though? Since having a baby, I've realised that female anatomy is capable of a huge amount.
Yeah.
So I now have even more appreciation for what bodies can do. So I'm like, coming at it with a whole new lens. But God, no one realizes what they're capable of. We're infinitely more capable than we give ourselves credit for. It's like we could have carried on if we wanted to. Do you know what I mean? It was.
I think from like kind of my point of view and listening what you did. So definitely the two amazing things you did was having a day off during the week. So your body actually, this is when you recommend people when they train, but have one day so your body can recover. And you did that. I don't know, intentionally, not intentionally, because sometimes you have to travel and so on, but you did that. So this is very important.
It's so important. And we there were days when we just didn't want to cycle. We hadn't reached anywhere that we meant to reach, but we just came to the decision that actually, physically and mentally we needed a break. And sometimes that was forced on us by the weather, or sometimes one of us was just having a crap day, there weren't many days, there weren't many breakdowns, personal breakdowns, but there were a few. And, there were a few points as well where I was like, right, I need to just book into a hotel or something right now, because we've camped like 30 days on the trot. Like we've cycled I don't know how far. I'm knackered. we're fraying at the seams. We just need to regroup.
I think it's great to listen to your body and just have the, strength, and just to say like, okay, I need to have a break. It's fine. And you just accept it. And you're going to get stronger after this as well. Obviously, sometimes it's on the other hand, sometimes it's nice to push through these times. But then it's have the balance of not having excuse every time. And sometimes allowing like, okay, this is the day, I'm just having a day off, and it's absolutely fine.
Totally. And then it's finding the balance between giving yourself too much of a break. So my struggle was then, we flew home for that wedding. We came back, we'd taken like 5 days off or something like that, and probably had a bit too much to drink, and, overindulged in other ways. And just getting started again then was really hard. But that was probably a mental thing more than a physical thing. Our bodies probably needed a rest. And I remember getting back or finishing a leg and just sleeping like I'd never slept before, because I think my body was just like, and stop, like just stop what you're doing.
Because it's tough. I mean, like doing something every day for a year, it's almost every day. It's tough, physically and mentally.
Yeah, totally.
But allowing your body to listen to your body and do whatever you feel is right. It's really, really good. Not just like in the cycle, in general, in life and training and so on.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That's that sounds like an epic journey, and obviously we just touched like the surface of it. And I suppose we could just keep talking about every single country and leg you did, because you did 6-7 legs.
So I can't remember. I think it was 7. Yeah, I think 7. We broke it down into 7. Yeah.
And then it was like roughly, when I scanned, it was like 2 months, maybe, roughly, not exactly.
Roughly, yeah. Totally varied. We did it mainly, the leg thing was mainly to kind of break it down psychologically. So as it wasn't, I think if you just went out thinking, oh, there's like 22,000 kilometers or something in the end. So if you left London and you were like, right, just 21,997 kilometers to go, you'd probably go mad. Like, so I think this is another thing about anything that you're training for, like breaking it down into bits so as you can get your head around that is like so important. And for us, that was these legs that was like, that marked a point at which, we'd completed like a digestible size of the trip. I mean, still they're massive. And within the legs even, we broke it down further to like cities or, it's the same with having any kind of big goal. It's the same with, like Ironman training. It's the same with any kind of training. Like, you just got to break it down. Otherwise, psychologically, it becomes impossible.
Yes, it will be too much, definitely.
Yeah. But we can put the link in.
Yes, of course. Yes. Of course, we can put the link to your website, so people, if anyone would like to dig in and is interested about, how you guys did it, like exactly the route and places and your experiences and your, I don't know what else. Probably there's lots of there when you go.
There's loads, and there's quite a good. There's quite a good blog on the kit that we took as well, and there's like a video that literally kind of shows all the kit and stuff. So if anyone's actually interested in doing bike touring, like I've got some panniers downstairs that aren't being used anyway, so if you want some panniers,
so do you still have the bikes?
Yeah, we do. I actually got mine serviced just before lockdown came in. So so we've dusted them off, and both you and I kind of bop around Leith on our old touring bikes, which actually they're so cool because we got a flag sticker from every country that we went to.
Oh wow.
So they're covered in flags from all over the world, which is really amazing. And we've got a little one now, Archie, who's 14 months, and we have a little like trailer for him, so he cycles around with us, which is really cool.
Are you guys thinking to do like obviously with the little child it's difficult to go around the world, but are you thinking to do like a maybe smaller trip with him or something?
Oh, definitely. And we'll do some big trips as well. We there's you know what, there's loads out there online about families doing this kind of thing. There's an amazing blog called Traveling To, and they've got 2 kids as well, and they've done all sorts of stuff. My dream is to take Archie and do the Pamir Highway, which is the highest road in the world, the highest road you can cycle in the world, and it's on the border between Tajikistan and Afghanistan, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's really famous cycling route. But
how long is that?
It would probably take about 6 weeks.
Okay.
I can't remember the distance exactly. But if you Google Pamir Highway, it's probably about 6 weeks in length. It just sounds like the most incredible trip. So I'd like to take Archie to do that. And I met a lady who did that with her son when he was 7. So,
oh, wow.
Okay. This kind of trip I know is possible with a family, so we will not let it deter us. It just might have to be on hold for a few years, is the only thing. So
that's one thing you are thinking. Anything else that you kind of thinking you fancy? Because you did say like many endurance races before, like for yourself maybe, because obviously touring with child is difficult, but maybe if it's 2 of you guys, like you don't have to always do things together, I suppose, and you can babysit for a day or for. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's hard. It's a hard balance. I'm trying to find the right balance because I really enjoy training, but with a young little one, it's like my focus is kind of spending time with him as opposed to spending hours and hours training. So right now I'm going to focus on 5K and just running a bit faster, I think, because it requires less of my time whilst he's so young. As he gets older, I'd love to get back into endurance stuff again. I'd love to do an ultramarathon. I'd love to do another Ironman. It's just finding the right time because it takes a lot of time out of your weekend.
It does, it does.
And I think, I don't know. Watch this space. But for now, I'm going to focus on speed and strength, and then I will think about it. But the touring thing as a family, I think we'd love to do that. And I can see us doing that in the next sort of, I don't know, we'll do some mini tours around Scotland, I think, in the next few years, and then a bigger trip in 7-8 years maybe.
But the stuff you're doing now, it's amazing because you're going faster with your 5K, and do you run 2-3 times per week or something like that?
2 times a week at the moment.
And then you do a few classes which are mainly strength based, so that gives you quite a few hours per week.
Definitely. And my fitness now is great. Like I don't know why I sort of thought becoming a mum meant suddenly you lose all of that. I don't know why. and I've joined Fitmamas, and I've learned that is absolutely not the case, because there are some incredible mums there with 1, 2, 3 children. I don't know if there's any with 4. I don't think there are, but they are
3.
Unbelievable. And all of them, I think there's something about being a mum, and when you go to work out, it's time for yourself, and mums don't often get that. So it's like these mums beast it because they know they've got this window of time, which is them and their investment in themselves, which is so important. And often mums give themselves too much of a hard time about looking after themselves, but it's just the most important thing. So I've realised that absolutely being a mum does not mean sacrificing any of your strength. If anything, it gives you a totally different perspective and admiration for what your body can do. And doing the Fitmamas classes, I try and do them as many times as I can a week. So usually like 3, 4 or 5 times. And the consistency is just the key to everything, I think. Like if you work out consistently, you'll be a fitter, stronger person. And like my fitness now is great. Like it's potentially better than before I had a baby. And and that didn't compute to me. That wouldn't have been where I thought I'd be a year on into being a mum. But I think the focus for me at the moment is speed and strength, and just keeping myself in a good physical state so I can keep up with Arch when he gets older. I think your motivation changes when you become a mum, and you do have to sideline your personal ambitions a little bit, or just change them. So endurance stuff goes out the window for a while, but it'll come back.
You can come back and you'll be stronger than ever with the stuff you're doing. Yeah,
exactly. As long as I can keep that base up, then I'm really, really happy.
But I love also your mindset, and that you say you're doing something for yourself, and that it's important. And to be honest, when you take care of yourself, you can take care of others even more.
Yeah,
because you're happy, and you are you are calm, and you aren't anxious, or like if you just do everything for others all the time, I mean, it's amazing, but then you don't have anything else to give if you're just giving all the time.
Yeah. And you see the mums in Fitmamas, like they're gaining confidence, they're gaining more energy, they're gaining endorphins. There's people there that probably haven't slept a wink, or they've had broken. I mean, Archie didn't sleep through till 13 months. I hadn't slept a full night in 13 months, and yet every single session brought me energy, and gave added something to me. It helped me get stronger, it helped my mood, it helped with community. You see other people in the same situation as you, and it's just great. It's so important. Mums guilt themselves way too much.
I agree.
But actually committing that time to exercise, it just couldn't be better spent, to be honest. It's half an hour or 45 minutes away from your little one, but it makes you better. It makes you more able to function in a way that you would want. And for me as well, and I want Archie to grow up, exercise being a normal thing to him, being like a normal part of his life, but thinking he can achieve whatever he wants. And you watch children in those classes looking at their mums and copying their mums already. It's amazing to see all the little ones doing perfect squats. It's so good.
I know. Yes.
But it's but they'll grow up with a totally different attitude to exercise, and a totally different idea of their own physical capabilities, because their mums have been active. And that's important to me, and that's obviously important to every mum that comes to Fitmamas, because they're doing it, they're there, they show up, and they get the benefits of that.
Amazing. You know what? I think it's time to wrap up. We can maybe do another podcast at some point in the future. But just to wrap up, like from all the stuff we've been talking about, you were telling me about your journeys around the world, of you being a mom and how things changed, and you also about your perspective about exercise and fitness and mindset. What have you, like, if you have to give someone an advice, like, what have you learned, like 3 things you have learned through, your last few years, that, you think this is very important, you didn't know that before. And, if you would have to tell this person 3 things, the most important 3 things you learned.
Yeah. Okay, the first one is I've said it already, but consistency is just absolutely key. Like, you can't expect to get fitter and stronger unless you put effort into that, each and every day, or, take a rest day. But if you want to be a fitness person, or if you want to be a strong person, or if you want to be a fast person, just do that each day and you'll get there. I would say, it's just totally mind over matter, really. I think with a lot of these things, like, so many people out there would just think that cycle touring, they're just not capable of that, or, an Ironman, they're just not capable of that. I genuinely believe that a lot of it is down to mindset and attitude. And I think everyone is more physically capable than they realize. But it's setting that intention, it's setting like a very clear goal, and then making a plan and working towards it. So yeah, I just think, like, set yourself a ridiculous goal and just see if you can do it. And what's the harm? And if you break it down enough, you'll get there. Yeah, and don't beat yourself up. I think that's the other thing. I've learned that from being a mum. Like, you just spend so much time worrying that you're not working hard enough, or running fast enough, or being with your child enough, or being fun enough, or being a fun enough wife, or being a good enough friend, or whatever. Like, the list is endless. But everyone's like that all the time, aren't they? Women are like that. I don't know. But I'm just starting to relax a bit more now, and just realize that I'm trying, and I'm showing up to classes, and I'm spending time with my family, and those are the things, my family matter to me first and foremost, and my health matters to me first and foremost. And, as long as you're trying, it's okay.
Amazing. You know what I love, like, everything you've been saying, and your positive attitude, and like the message you kind of want to share. So just keep doing it. And, yeah, it's kind of, I think people like you are important to be heard, because they make a difference, and they bring some good vibes and inspire other people to do things. So it was great talking to you.
Thanks. I'm right back at you. Because
yes.
Fitmamas is a lifesaver for me and so many other mums out there.
I'm glad to hear. So we are going to share all the links we mentioned in the podcast, so people can check them out.
Yeah, brilliant. And feel free to put my email address on there. And if anyone wants to talk about trips or help plan trips or whatever, I'm happy to help.
Okay. I'm just going to say thank you guys for listening to us. And yes, get in touch if you have any questions with myself or with Katie. Okay. Thank you.